betting Y team will win. AQ, John, they've been a bit inconsistent. They're 3-2, but they basically lost or won every single game in a large margin. Either like they win 7-3 or lose 7-3. TTK, yeah, it's close, but I know what I'm getting with TTK. For AQ, I don't know if Psycho's showing up or if he's going 1-10. That's my issue.
Yeah, that was something I was going to mention, especially against ATK. We had a lot of people underperforming on the side of Aqualix, and ATK has been a team that has steadily improved. The same thing can be said with TookTheKids, maybe not as gun mode as they have been in comparison to ATK, but still getting better at winning those entries, getting better at allowing Mr. B to do his job on the IGL role, and even he can kind of join the fun from time to time as well. So this is definitely not a good matchup for Aqualix unless they are able to build off on that quote-unquote gadget system. If they just fall into only utilizing that system, it's just it's not going to be a good...
You know, the operator reveals for a couple seconds and then, you know, bait him with the lineup. But like AQ is the only team that does it. And they do it all in. Everyone's on a different op than they end up playing. I don't know why only they do it, but it's very funny to me.
Maybe it's going to throw somebody off guard. I've got no idea either, to be honest. But at least we could expect maybe Rice to stick the Habana. She's pretty good, especially when attacking Aviator. Whether you want to go in from Master, open up Hunting Wall, or if you want to go in from Study and maybe open up one of the Aviator walls, perhaps. It's not the worst idea. So hopefully that will stick. And maybe we'll see more operators actually kept. We only have 3 repicks right now, Finka, Ayana, and Zofia respectively, so still tons of grenades. Again, potentially incentivizing, wanting to have more of an emphasis on a main take, but with the hard breach as an option too for Rice, they actually might want to go for Master instead, Carter.
Could see them shift things up. It's a nice thing about, like, this lineup, though. You could go for it if you want, but even if you end up going for main stairs, you still have... Oh. You actually don't have 2 nades. Or 2 sets of nades. Psychosis is running smokes on Yana. Yana's one of those operators where if you were to like wake me up from like a nap, you'd be like, quick, what's the other secondary utility Yana has? You'd be like, I don't know. She got nades and something else. So don't see that combination often. But John, they are going for that master take. So while I might have gotten the nades wrong on Psychosis, you did get the direction right.
Well, it did make a tad bit of sense. Hopefully having Twitch on the board can also allow that Kaid Claw to be destroyed much easier, allowing hunting to be opened up, and not having a complete funnel, especially if Aqua struggle to actually go for that rotation. But with Taha finding that duel and just fading away down the hatch, things are already not looking great. Afer off the board, and those Twitch drones, which could have been massive to help open up hunting, are no longer an option.
Hey, if you're really betting on those smokes being alive come the execute, you're very thankful you put Psychosis on the smokes instead of the nades now. So I guess good pick to have that redundancy built in. Sure, you lose the nades, but after Afer getting smoked like that, not really much you can do. Taha will dash all the way back to site. I believe everyone from TookTheKids is actually pretty much all over on the south side right now, whether it be some players on the first floor, but by and large, most on that top floor in the site right now. AQ still has some good tools in their arsenal. They've got Rice who can open up that vault wall, though there is one playing 90, so they need to worry about it. So losing the Twitch sucks, but they still have plenty of utility to try to mitigate that loss.
See if it works out, though. Tons of drones trying to gather information for both Psychosis and Rice to work off of, potentially. But with no rotate happening and a shield to be placed in 90 Hall, I mean, there isn't many options for Aqualix as of now. And again, most likely having that Kaid Claw stacked up next to the actual vault door itself and not directly on the wall, this is really formulating to look more like a funnel set up by Aqualix rather than having that multifaceted approach we would normally tend to see for an Aviator push.
And AQ certainly don't lack the skill to make a funnel approach work, but, well, with one of the more standout players recently going down, Slimy Nick falling inside of 90, losing by the second, the people that can get it done. Psychosis now, kind of one of the more consistent ones, I suppose, though even then, as I mentioned, even him, he can sometimes have a little bit of an up and down performance in a 3v5 as well. With all this utility going forward, they'll have to rely on their own nades to do the work right now. Gasher lands one on a Trist, the other likely going wide, but at least clearing out some utility on that maps table. Now they could hopefully creep on in as Rice gets one, could pick up a second if he's cognizant and aware of Tragical's potential position inside of Study. He's got to be careful, though, because if the defense holds Study, that's a very powerful position to deny this bomb from going down. Psycho, nailed by Nice at the doorway. A C4 and the gun from Mr. B and Tragical to take 2 souls in the end. And really, for Aqualix, started to recover with that nade kill, but beyond that, this was pretty much a TTK round, or as close to one as you can get.
No intel there towards the last couple seconds either. It was more just off of audio and just dried up information. I would assume Rice did not expect Tragical to still be holding inside of Study and not using any flash grenades either. Definitely seemed a bit odd. Definitely could have had a lot more of a presence there instead of Study, but it just kind of fell flat in its face and TookTheKids still having plenty of utility. Actually saw that plant from going down even after the smoke had died by a grenade from Gasher. I mean, it was just a pretty normal looking round for TookTheKids overall. Got the opening pick. They fell back almost immediately after that, which wasted a lot of Aqualix's own time from their own hands. And then they just ran out of utility to actually deal with the shields, especially because Psychosis did not have any grenades again. I'm not even too sure if he was running the Gone 6. Can't really confirm or deny that, but no one ever pushed in through 90, so that bar position was top-notch for TookTheKids.
He might not be running the nades, but he's got to be running the Gone 6. No way he's giving all of it up. I mean, you know, nades, whatever, you want to run the smokes, you can do it, but Gone 2? Highly doubt it. I don't believe that one. Also, by the way, since we neglected to mention, Valkyrie left up in this matchup. So we'll see Psychosis bring out the IQ to account for those black eye cameras around the building, as both him or Tragical and Taha have, or at least Taha was playing off-site previously. Now Tragical will join him. Some of those cameras off-site. So we'll see if Psycho decides to go and aid his team on the full clear, or if they'll focus more on trying to find these Electroclaws on the site, which they too are also placed in off position. So you got to do a little bit more work than just, you know, zapping one, which they'll do. There is still one panel electrified.
Well, that does still allow the default part of the triple wall to be opened up, unless Mr. B can collect his Kaid Claw and then just try to trick it, potentially. But that's probably not going to happen for TookTheKids. We could already see a lot of heart destruction going down because of that little play-in by Slime. So not a bad start at all for Aqualix, and they are still going in for the normal push, clearing out this first floor, maybe getting ready to walk up Asher's stairs once they push into bathroom. And speaking of bathroom, Triss is playing hyper-aggressive on the Maestro, waiting for someone to hop in either closet or near that bathroom window. And again, if the drone game just isn't there on the top floor as it is the middle floor right now for Aqualix, that could maybe find some sort of opening duel for TookTheKids.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, though. That drone hole, I mean, he's aware of it. He's not, you know, letting it slip too far away from him, but he's got to be careful that a drone doesn't slip in, because he could be a dead man if somebody then rapidly peeks that closet window and he can't react in time. Nobody's really focusing or thinking about it right now. Ooh, Taha is misdroned around the corner on top of red stairs. Even the Maestro does a little bit extra work, takes down the drone right around the Oryx. Right now, there's nothing of it. As Nice takes a little bit of damage, he pulls back into Astro, but this is a very slow attack from AQ, even with that Kaid Claw taken down early on.
Minute 10 just about left to go here. Still haven't found that opening kill, and no hard destruction yet by Rice. He is inside a closet, though, finally, so he can begin to utilize those X-Kairos charges. Narrowly misses the Nitro Cell, too. That could have been deadly for both Gasher and also the Habana as well of Rice that I previously mentioned, so still having the ability to walk in through triple wall could be massive, and Afer lands a beautiful nade. Nice will fall, but here's the aggressive play by Mr. B to now equalize.
4v4, though a very hard position to play on this wall, especially now that he's been spotted. One can peek out a closet. Mr. B's not aware of it. One player right to his left, though he could still pick up a kill on the bedroom window. As I keep saying this, but nobody turns the corner. Still in there. No! He doesn't even realize. Slime can't even pick it up! Both Mr. B and Tragical going huge on the breach, and a major misplay in terms of intel by Aqualix. Back to a 2v2 or equilibrium, but Psycho on low HP can very effectively be dealt with by even the lowly of guns like the MPX. Afer has got enough bullets to make it work. He's got a triple so far, a nade 2 to boot. Mr. B, he can play back. He's got control of the diffuser. He can wait for Afer to push up and hear the sound of the LMG giving away his position. Hard pings as well. He'll play back for the moment, but he's got to get this right. Got to get the 2-0, but he misses the one shot that matters. Nice 4K by Afer, but still a sloppy round for AQ.
And there was such a high chance of Mr. B still winning that against the LMG. There were tons of pings flying out against the Finka. They knew whether he would push in from Masters and Evil Eye stacked up near Statuary or pushing in through Bathroom, which was the option altogether for the Finka. But still, an incredibly close call and a good heads-up play by TookTheKids. They had phenomenal team play to allow Mr. B to, at the very least, get traded out if he were to die near that half-wall position leading in through Master Bedroom. But because no one expected him to be there, that element of surprise after the drones were destroyed, it allowed a lot of leeway to be made, despite the early plays by Aqualix that were working, getting that Electroclaw destroyed and finding a grenade kill. It really did look hopeful, but still, down to the wire, Aqualix will take that second round.
And a very close margin. Afer going very big for his team, who, one of those players, it's always like Psychosis and Afer. If one of them is going big, I'm like, okay. It's normal AQ. If they both start falling, I'm like, oh no. It's a rough game ahead of us. So hopefully to see something a little bit more sound for AQ, especially as TookTheKids go back to Trophy Statuary. We saw Tragical and Taha off the site for a good portion of the entire round. We'll see how they tackle this here, whether AQ opt to go for something different, as Psycho, I didn't talk about it, because again, AQ switch all of their ops usually, is sticking the Nook. And on Trophy Statuary, well, really on any site, but on Trophy Statuary, I suppose, not exactly an operator that I can think of a lot of ready-made applications.
Could maybe see Psychosis want to walk up red, perhaps. Just slowly creeping in. That could kill somebody potentially looking out their trophy, or even Statuary as well, having Mr. B in that key position, someone who was an absolute force to be reckoned with earlier in the round. He might be too focused trying to Kaid trick, as he has both Electric Claws in his back pocket. So that is honestly not a bad idea by Psychosis, and he got to still just play for grenades underneath as well, but he doesn't expect the vertical play, and if he did, just wasn't in the right position to actually win that gunfight. Thankfully, though, having the adrenaline surges on the board, that can revive Psychosis, not being finished off, and he can live to fight for a little while longer and still have those nades to be in use.
Speaking of nades, Afer can now also creep further inside the building, as he seems to be the one. Though I guess Psycho too. I always forget Nook has nades, mostly because I never see Nook, so not something my mind readily retains. But two nades go out, neither find their marks, but oh no! Psychosis looks away right as Tragical pushes into Memo, but right as I say that, the Valkyrie flees back out. I think heard the drone hit the floor and decided to cut his losses and play for the C4, play for the kills later on. Taha instead, he'll now drop down to that bottom floor on the basement. But for AQ, they can at least take solace, as for now, their ability to play this vertical is not contested.
Ooh, close call again for Mr. B. Able to dodge some more grenades and still have a K-Claw in the pocket, so can go for that trick as well. That really was one of the few saving graces almost for Aqualix, was having that back hole opened up, if it weren't for the fact that Mr. B just simply walked past it and then found two with the help of Tragical as well. Still needing to worry about this roam game, though, with the minute on the board. If someone just slightly misses out on a singular corner here in this first floor, that could be lights out for any of these attackers still stacked up, clearing out both now the red hallway and still trying to clear out near Astro's stairs as well, I believe it to be.
Yeah, I still see Psychosis pushing pretty far out. On the flip side, we see Taha now pushing up brown stairs as well. Very spread out. Neither the defense nor the attack really having a full stronghold, or at least an identifiable one, as there is still some players still scattered around the site. Tragical now coming up, but AQ struggling to make any kind of movement. They've not even opened the wall. Bathroom still contested by the defense, and sure, Brick's doorway might seem free, but you've got the Cade right around the corner with the C4 as well. Taha opens things up with a nice kill onto Slimy Nick. Tragical cuts down the Nook, going for a flank on the backside, but oh no, Triss loses a big spray, but thankfully TookTheKids is really compensating for any missed shots by any of the site players. The roamers coming back are going huge at the moment, and Afer and Gash are both struggling to make an impact. Mr. B moves into bedroom, retakes that facet of the map, and all that's left is Afer, who gets one. He's got 5 kills so far between 2 rounds, but it's another poor performance by AQ, and unfortunately here, Afer didn't have 4 kills to make up for it.
Beautiful adaptation as well by TookTheKids to hold on to that first floor for much longer. That was one of the small things that changed up the round for Aqualix altogether on round 2, was being able to at least late push in, not only from Master, but also kind of pushing through Astro too, which was just enough to squeeze out a win on round number 2. But a common problem we see a lot by Aqualix, especially in their past games, is just their self-stall. They don't always want to adapt fully. They want to stick with plan A, and that's it, even if it doesn't work at the very beginning, and they still have time to change. We could have seen someone maybe rotate in through study or going main door from lobby side to help out deal with the horizontal presence, yet that was never something Aqualix even thought about fully, besides I believe it being the Nook just slowly pushing in by themselves. It wasn't really a whole team effort. It was just up to a singular hero play, which again was the only way that Aqualix even got around to begin with so far in this first half against TookTheKids.
Ooh, I was hoping that gridlock was not going to be a fake out. Connor and I have actually talked about repeatedly in private, and how we wish teams brought more gridlock. We understand why teams don't, but we think she's a very versatile operator. And AQ before has brought track stingers specifically for maybe executes to make getting around the site a little bit difficult. But sadly here, going Nomad instead. I mean, Nomad, fine operator, whatever. Still, I'd like to see the gridlock. Overall for AQ, how they're going to tackle kitchen and dining. I mean, they have been going for a bit horizontal on trophy statuary. They might do it here, but I don't know. I want to see a team go for that vertical. I feel like it's been missing today, John.
Yeah, teams have just refused to bring out the sledge for his actual potential with self-destruction. It's more or less just, I have nades, so I am important.
I have nades and L85. That is my job.
Yeah, that's it. Good gun, good secondary util. Forget about even if the primary util is good or not. We've got explosivity. That's it. And we've got Afer. Pantry stairs already.
All right,
ADS will catch the first grenade. His position now known not only by the audio call, but also Tragical, gathering tons of intel with that cardiac sensor. So, at least TookTheKids, they've got the understanding that it's not going to be just that full vert push by Aqualix. They want to try to go for maybe a bit of an aggressive play leading in from Pantry to try to catch somebody off guard.
TookTheKids, of course, they have the utility and the positioning to fully account for that with some players up top as well. I mean, it's basically kind of the same thing exactly that we talked about between West Garfield and Game and Gladiators. If Aqualix push in too quick, there's players up above who can deal with them if the players on the site don't. And, well, Taha in a similar position as well inside of Living spots one creeping up red stairs. He just doesn't even ADS or react really. He's like, oh, that's kind of awkward. Gasher instead tries to retake the angle on the hatch, but Taha just kind of looks at him. He's like, that's the easiest prediction I've ever made.
Yep, sledge now gone. Does weaken a lot of that potential you would have had to gather this top floor control. You still have breaching charges though in the hand psychosis, so a little bit of vertical can be done, but more or less, especially with Tragical on that pulse and still a couple of nitro cells in the pockets of TookTheKids, this is more or less going to be problematic for Aqualix, if anything, then a bonus. Nice finds one as well off screen, psychosis to fall, so there, your breaching charge is gone too. Now no vertical pressure can really be established, and at this point, Aqualix, they have to change something unless they want to be met with a nitro cell.
Well,
oh,
that might be...
right on cue.
Now, I've had the worst time segment ever. That might be the best timed one we've ever had. Afer trying to, I suppose salvage whatever little bit of this roam clear they have. I mean, Rice will get a kill, so it's not Afer, but it's Rice with the diffuser, manages to get one. But overall, AQ were trying to push the horizontal. Didn't work. Weren't making any progress. They rotate up. They get killed and don't make any progress, except, well, one kill by Rice. And now they're in the position where they've tried everything, it hasn't worked, and now they have to go back to their original plan, not only with less bodies on the board, but now Rice is on 1 HP, your man with the diffuser. Afer might be able to cover effectively, but maybe not for long if TookTheKids can just land one single solitary shot onto Rice. Afer has staked his claim on Laundry, that's where he'll go in. Activate the Banshee for just a second, but it baits out Tragical, and Tragical doesn't fall for it. Takes the head off of Afer, and with Rice so low, Mr. B can easily clean that one up. 3 rounds now for TookTheKids.
And I mean, they got the opening kill off the bat. That's your vert player gone. That weakens a lot of what your plan A was. And although, I should say, although Aqualix had the idea that there was going to be nitro cells on the board and there was a pulse as well, they still wanted to go for that full top to bottom clear involving vertical and not just forcing the roam game to move a floor lower. If we had just seen that slight change up by Aqualix, if they had went for more of a horizontal take or just didn't spend as much time on the top floor as they did, that probably could have been a very different round for them. Again, we're not seeing a lot of positions changed up by Aqualix. They just stick to what they want to be comfortable with, and that's really it. Whereas TookTheKids constantly moving around, still being very volatile in that roam game, still gathering tons of information, and the team play, it has still been alive and well, if not thriving for TookTheKids, which just only strengthens the fact that they've been doing so well in their defense. They have each other's backs right now.
Well, CAQ bring out Osa, which is something I like, mostly because I think Harrison and I mentioned this whenever, or we've talked about it before, specifically back during SCS, how AQ were, at least on like a tier 2, T3 level, were one of the first teams to really start experimenting with Osa. They were one of like the first that we actually saw bring her, 1, and 2, use her effectively. And Psychosis switches off of her to the Ying. So, I guess the Ying's cool, John. I love me some Candelas.
Point nullified.
Dude, hold on, I gotta go take some copium. Just...
Go take a lap.
I had a whole setup about how I was like, oh, you know, AQ are getting experimental, that's where they're strong, and nope, they just go with the Ying. I mean, it's not like Ying's bad. It's just like, I want to see Osa, man.
Hopefully on Trophy Room we will get that wish granted. Because I don't think she is the best for Aviator, unless you want to do a heavy, and I mean heavy, study push potentially. It's just too stuffed when you walk in from Skull Doorway. So it definitely seems like the Ying will be more effective here on this site. Right. But again, experimenting, that would be the best option for Aqualix because they really just love to play with one whole idea and that's about it. Seems like they'll go rather aggressive, clearing out main stairs. Seems to be successful so far, but Trist can fall back for the time being and now changes position, goes back in main despite being full blind and now droned as well. He seems to not want to give up this position, especially because he has backup from Not Nice as well, and that grenade missing allows Trist to hold on to this position for a little while longer.
I don't know if that was a good read by Trist or just going with his instinct, but he sprints back up the stairs right as Afer goes for the clear, so that probably would have been main stairs control for Aqualix. I don't think if Trist had stayed there, he would have lived, but just in the nick of time, he makes it work. He's used all of his smoke canisters, though, and with no Tachanka on the board, that does mean TookTheKids are very short on denial. I believe Tragical has already used... Oh, he hasn't used his C4. He has pre-placed it. That does mean Mr. B is the only one who can actively use it. Most importantly, though, even if he doesn't have those smoke canisters, he is still wasting time and utility, as all Candelas have now gone out, and while Aqualix have main stairs control, it comes at a cost with losing Psychosis, and now you've wasted a lot of time as well.
Well, no more toxic smokes. Only, I believe, maybe a Nitrocell because Tragical had popped his. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, it's actually pre-placed right now. There are still 2 on the board. My bad. But, like I mentioned, not a lot of general stall here for TookTheKids. They have to make sure those Nitrocells land, or they just have to harp on the fact that Aqualix might not have enough time to fully rotate here in this final 40 seconds and might just end up getting tunnel vision, but having somebody on 90 window, it might still be a full rotate later in this round, perhaps Carter.
Yeah, keeping their options open. Not trying to box themselves in, or as much as one can try to avoid with only 30 seconds left. But Taha, who's been having a solid game so far, could get active inside of 90, cut down Rice, the hard breacher as well, though it's Gasher holding the diffuser right now. Slimy Nick struggling with a little bit of a lack of intel, no blind sight, unfortunately. Loses his life to Tragical. Ooh, but a nice reaction shot by Afer. Almost make that 2. He revives himself instead as Gasher picks up a nice kill. Rice, too, just barely surviving that one. Aqualix skating by, but on thin ice at the moment. So only 8 seconds left. Tragical moves out. He's playing for the retake, but he's got to hope that AQ are a little bit lackluster on their coverage. Rice is watching, but if Tragical wins this fight, he could change things. Oh, no, a lot of missed shots, but no. It's actually Rice landing all the ones that matter. AQ with their second round, and finally, one that actually looked solid.
And because of the fact there wasn't a lot of actual utility to stop a push from happening, we had to see TookTheKids be a bit more aggressive, and having Aqualix actually have somebody late rotate in a 90 window did them a lot of justice. They had more than one angle to look down. They could potentially work into hunting as well, which is a key part of the map that TookTheKids needed, especially when it was more of a push leading in from the actual study side and also the back area of main stairs rather than more of that Skuldori position. So everything just kind of went according to plan by Aqualix because they just were in the right place at the right time against TookTheKids, who again were very solo in their play style, and just they had to get hyper aggressive because they didn't have anything to fall back on, despite how magnificent they were in terms of stalling out main stairs for pretty much the first half and maybe even 2/3 of that action phase.
Even if whichever one it was, still enough to be extremely problematic for AQ, but that goes to show good recovery nonetheless. Moving to trophy statuary, we sadly, John, will not see an Osa. I hoped we might see. Aqualix instead running it back with the lineup they pretty much run, though switching things up a little bit. We'll see if they go for the same direct like they did last time, sitting outside a bedroom window, going down below a little bit, trying to move on in, or if they'll decide to try to tackle Taha and Tragical on their own, who are in the same spots that they did last time. See if AQ read into it, and it appears, at least based on where they've spawned, yes, that they very well might.
Actually having more of a main push this time as well. Definitely not going to hate on that. It's something new. Aqualix has not just fallen in for the same thing they did last time. That's a plus. And doing their due diligence on the drone game as well. Also nice, because there have been a lot of rounds where they just kind of run in blind, and although they spotted Taha, apparently no one gave the intel that he was in there. I guess communication just simply non-existent when pushing in through. That's going to give the first pick for TookTheKids. And nobody checks Tragical next to bookshelves, watching top main and study doorway. All right, then.
Hey, John.
Now it's a 5 versus 3.
You're being unfair. Afer did check it. He just did it right as he shot. He just face-checked it. Or he might have known in the pre-fired. I don't know. Still for, we were excited about them switching it up. Could have gone better. Could have been a little bit better. Nobody knows where anybody is right now on this clear, as I don't think anybody has really been fully 100% confident in the fights they've been taking, except maybe Afer, but he still lost. So, who's laughing now? AQ in the 2v4 as we haven't even reached half the round gone, with Rice on low HP and Utility looking low, though that's mostly in virtue of there being 2 bodies left alive. Tragical with these kill holes, can see if anybody pushes up books, but a Gemini Replicator goes out. So glad to see that AQ, now they've lost 3 bodies, are not playing fast and loose with their intel.
I mean, they were doing the right thing, but the execution was so poor. They were expecting Taha to maybe get aggressive, but he still wins the fight. Case dropped in Study, leaving just Gasher, and he's gone as well by the hands of Tragical. A buddy ace, I think it'd be by both the Orcs and Valkyrie, as
Buddy ace.
Despite the general intel, like I said, being good for Aqualix, were they playing on mute that round?
I guess.
Did they just?
I guess.
I don't know.
I guess they were hoping that they flash. They
fall back.
No, they flash in through like Game Store and hope that blinds the Oryx, and then that explains why he sprinted through. But even then, it seems like a little bit of, maybe a little bit much assuming from Aqualix. You have somebody pushing up main as well. Nobody's able to get that trade pushing in from Study either, even though there were 2 people there. I don't know. It seemed very just hectic and chaotic, which AQ can thrive in, but it was like the hectic and chaotic and a mess that they made for themselves. Overall, I mean, good play by TookTheKids for reacting and holding out. But beyond that, it was still kind of a sour note to end on. Was overall a pretty poor attacking half from Aqualix. They had 1 solid round in round 5, but the only other one they won was when Aether got a 4K. It was going huge for them in getting map control. They get to go to the defense now, so maybe we'll see them fare a little bit better here. Perhaps just defenses on Villa are the bread and butter of everybody today. But, John, I mean, I'm hoping, but it just seemed like there's just something not clicking on the roster right now, and I'm worried that it might be regardless of side.
Yeah, it's got to be something more basic. I mean, we mentioned how the quote-unquote Gasher system hasn't been favoring Aqualix enough to where it should just be their only option. They've had a lot of struggles willing to adapt, or when even they try to adapt, it kind of fails. But it's got to be more than just that quote-unquote system. It has to be something more or less like communication, because again, especially last round, they had 3 separate drones, not only on Taha, but also I think on Tragical at one point too, spotting him somewhere near main, if not at least bar, yet they couldn't kill those 2 roamers and just sat in that one part of the map for way too long and just lost all of their bodies because of those 2 players. Not even to worry about the site presence as of yet, but maybe moving in the second half, things could potentially change, but I feel like you were more accurate on your statement. There goes the grenade. Many more to most likely come. Psychosis now has to fall back, but at least he's still alive, re-peaks, and is full blinds, and not dead just yet. Aether finding 2 somehow, and it's complete pandemonium once again, Carter.
Yeah, I will say it was a solid main stairs clear by TookTheKids, but letting Aether run rough shot all over their back line, definitely not a good trend to set going forward. But a minute 10 seconds in, they still have main stairs control in their hands, a lot of time left, and it is still equal man count. I still can't forgive them fully for just letting Aether run across them like that, but they still have a fair bit going for them. They can start getting Triss to maybe open up this bar and games wall, start baiting out Utility as well. And hey, if they could even put pressure on Slime at 90, this could still be a very solid round.
And 20 to go as well. E1D's pop 2. Yeah, this is not completely over for TookTheKids. They've got a couple of smoke grenades to worry about, and that's mostly it. And it's not like their man count is completely horrendous either. They could still have somebody maybe late rotate in through Master or Red to kill the guy watching 90, because at the moment, that's currently the biggest problem here for TookTheKids, is the fact that someone is holding long in 90, and they've got Gasher playing close as well to go for that double team. So even if one of these 2 players dies, high chance of a trade. And even if we don't need that trade to happen, if Mr. B dies, this is going to be that man advantage for Aqualix, and it's going to be a complete change of pace by TookTheKids if that happens.
Well, Mr. B still has those EU1Ds, so even if there's somebody 90 and somebody playing close, they can freeze everybody inside of the site and take advantage of the few seconds of freedom they have. But Gasher peeks out. Down goes Triss. Down goes Nice as well as Slimy Nick gets his first kill of the game so far. Now Mr. B flashes Gasher. Takes down Rice, actually. Doesn't even know that Gasher is just on the opposite side of the bar right now. Playing ring around the Rosie and not able to get his bearings in time. AQ take their first defense, but again, in large part, built on the backs of some efforts by Aether.
And especially for Aether, yeah, no one went around, hopped in through living room, no one droned him out at all, and it was just a complete surprise attack for Aether, which took the kids at a pretty poor spot for a good chunk of time as well, despite the fact they eventually cleared out main. And at that point, the team play towards the end of the round was still quite nice by Aqualix. They were able to make sure no one could directly pressure the smoke except for just hopping in through study wall leading into bar, as there was someone just holding down 90 quite religiously for the side of Aqualix. So the team play there towards the end was incredible by Aqualix, and allowing Afer to kind of self-enable himself, because the poor information really did shine through as well to weaken TookTheKids off the bat.
And that's something that AQ and Afer as well can very much thrive on. Now with this Valk on the board too, Afer was thriving off of being able to deny those drones last time. Even if TookTheKids had a drone watching library, you could activate that ERC, and TookTheKids could know he's in that area, but they could never still know exactly where he was. This time, he's enabling myself by giving himself intel, giving himself some of those black eye cameras to play off the site if he wants to, or even just play down below, holding with that C4 and maybe playing for one as TookTheKids going to open the triple panel per se. A lot of tools are being given to Afer right now to succeed, and especially in large part where like Slimy Nick and Psychosis haven't been showing up that much on both attack and in the one round of defense that we've seen so far. So Aqualix having that intel and intel denial in their pockets, they played well off it in one round. Now let's see if they can keep it consistent.
Glad to see both teams opting to pick out the Valkyrie a couple of times here. Extra information never hurts anybody, especially for Aqualix as well. Well, they have to kind of go for a lot of hero plays. Someone dies early on, they can just be feeding some aggressive play or constant information. And if we had maybe more nitro cells, we could have seen some sort of plant denial via that verticality, especially now TookTheKids are opting for more of a horizontal take, trying to clear out this extension leading into both Bar and Aviator. But no first initial kill to happen just yet. Some damage being dealt between both Trist and Psychosis, but not enough to fully die or even get downed in the current minute.
I didn't realize Afer actually has impacts instead of a C4, so I won't be playing for a C4 later on, but he can still cause a lot of headache for the attack with these black eye cameras, which we know that he has. Sees one, or has a camera on the chandelier, so can catch Taha going down below, can catch Nice as well, and even gets the first kill onto Tragical. So far, TookTheKids have found really no way to deal with these players off the site. They're kind of like moving their hands around it. They might have an idea. They start going a certain direction, but then Afer appears, shuts him down. They try to go down below, use those nades. They've done a lot of damage, but now they're relegated to just trying to take these gunfights, and there's 3 defenders all ready to stop them from pushing on in and getting one of these kills, and even if they do, getting one for free. Taha playing on the doorway right now with not many there to support him, or not many to play the trade. There's Trist, but he's on the opposite side of a reinforcement right now. Not much he can do if Taha ends up falling. Clearly running off some lackluster intel right now as he doesn't even know that Gasher's to his left. Slimy Nick still in games, takes down the support from Trist. It's basically a complete replay of where TookTheKids were just a couple rounds ago, except now it's AQ benefiting. Afer with the 3K, no bodies dropped, and a flawless round for their second defensive win.
Once again, the self-enabling by Afer off the bat, able to dodge the drones on round number 7, then round number 8, actually utilizing some black eye cameras to swing wide and feel confident enough to go win that first engagement. Immediate 5-on-4 for Aqualix, and at some point, I guess the call was made to still have people stacking up in both Aviator and Bar, because TookTheKids never late rotated at all heading into Master. They still wanted to deal with that extension directly. So having all of that team play and resourcefulness still there for Aqualix throughout the entire round was so impressive. And it just, again, it really was too much to handle for TookTheKids. Things now totally equalized as Aqualix have been really impressing so far in their defensive rounds.
And they've been able to make up for a poor attacking half, which, hey, we're hoping for a close game. I am happy to see it. Afer continuing his dominance, and now with that Valkyrie unbanned, we saw how good they could perform on a roam with just the black eye cameras at their disposal. Now they have the heartbeat scanner as well. Of course, he's going to be focused a bit more on the site, so, Afer can helm one sphere off the site. Rice can focus on making sure that, nobody pushes up very aggressively on that top floor directly above him or on the site itself. But this just goes to show that AQ and Afer specifically have been performing well when they have that extra intel. Now, they could spread that theoretically over the entire map to influence both their on-site play and their off-site play. This is looking like a really good setup for AQ based on how these past couple rounds have gone.
And again, we talk about that self-enabling. And maybe have both Afer and Psychosis just be incredibly aggressive off the bat, still having the black eye cameras too, along with Cardiac Sensor, tons of intel too. But Mr. B is actually adapting a little bit and rocking the IQ. So he could definitely detect a lot of early information, potentially even spotting out Psychosis in a bad spot, and even able to maybe isolate either the Valkyrie or potentially that Vigil. But across the waves, we've got Taha actually looking to go in through Library, maybe kill this player stacked up in Living Room. There's a bit of information being given by one of his teammates on a drone. So overall for TookTheKids, they're just kind of setting up, being in a bit of a, I guess, calm before the storm. But looks like Taha is trying to make a pretty loud entry, maybe with that grenade, depending on how it lands.
Ooh, just goes a little bit too far past Slimy Nick. Unlucky for Taha, who also takes a lot of damage on the entry into living as well. Just barely drops in a bathroom for cover, and they lose their IQ, lose their Nomad, looking to lose all their bodies at this point. Intel be damned as Slimy Nick goes huge. One player just on the opposite side of that breach as well. Triss struggling in the 1v1 against the Valkyrie. Everything collapsing dramatically for TookTheKids as Tragical turns his back to the living room. But I meant to say, turns his front towards Aether, and it doesn't even matter. Aqualix looking indomitable these past 3 rounds on the defense, and going to show that, hey, our attacks might have been pretty, mid, but our defenses? You have another thing coming if you think we're throwing this one away.
TookTheKids seem to, I don't know if overcomplicating is the right phrase, but maybe just generalized underperforming. They finally go for a timeout. Glad to see that eventually abrupt as they tried, well, attacking pretty much every single site, and none of it really working out for them.
No ground gain.
Losing the opening entry every single time, despite feeding information to their entry players and still having a bunch of util to properly counter Aqualix. They're just not able to find any success. And maybe it's because they're trying to multitask a little bit too much, perhaps, some of these rounds, in particular the last one where they had Finka almost solo clearing. She waited for backup, yet didn't initially swing after the call was given, and maybe that could lead into more or less the same communication problems that we had for Aqualix, now transitioning over into TookTheKids on the second half. But for Aqualix, they are still just playing all these positions perfectly and really not letting their hurt down in the slightest against TookTheKids. Yeah.
Their extensions, their ability to just hold that offsite pressure and just not care whatsoever. It's been the difference maker. But even as you said, it is aided by TookTheKids definitely going about it sloppily as well. But it is definitely, one, AQ just playing really well offsite anyway, and TookTheKids also making mistakes. It's like the perfect combination if you're the defense right now. You're already doing well. You probably could still win these rounds, even if they weren't making mistakes. But TookTheKids also going about it all wrong. Now I've taken that timeout. Maybe we'll see a change here. Interestingly enough, though, AQ dropped the Valkyrie, drop other intel ops. All they're sticking with right now is the Vigil to deny intel, and they also do have the bulletproof, to be fair. They have some bit of extra intel. But interesting that, of course, Mr. B is bringing that IQ, so those black eye cameras might not survive as long. But AQ have just decided to completely forego it. Bit of a risk, but an understandable one.
It's also what you mentioned earlier, Carter, in our last broadcast of how the roam game doesn't need to be alive and well for a long time, especially when you're actually defending Aviator Room. So you don't need that full commitment of having, the Valkyrie of Aether getting super aggressive and needing those actual cameras to gather tons of reconnaissance, especially Mr. B has not been afraid to move past and go into an IQ pick. Just having Aether kind of do his own thing, again, that self-enabling mentality where you just kind of run in, get aggressive, maybe dodge a couple of drones here and there, and just kind of win those first engagements. I mean, look at where he's playing it right now. Hyper aggressive. He can pop the ERC, and if he needs fall back, he can. Apparently, Slime wants to join in the action too, like Aether, and he'll die early on. But Aether, still in a good spot to maybe trade things out, but no. Loses the fight to Nice, and my point has now been completely flattened, just the same as the Aqualix defenders.
I mean, this is about the time where the defense starts rotating back, but they both start pushing up, and they lose their fights. Unfortunate for Aqualix right now, who are in the difficult situation of now having to get a little bit aggressive with those on-site players, and it's not to say that TookTheKids don't have their own set of shooters. Mr. B and Tragical both doing very well for themselves in this matchup overall. They're on the attack. They've left a little bit to be desired. Now Gasher's got to play inside of 90 a little bit longer than he would like. Rice probably has to take a fight or two outside of Skull Door. One more fight than I imagine he'd prefer. Gasher doing great work so far. Completely equalizes. Sure, Gasher might have been in an uncomfortable position, but he just did Rice a favor. Now they can play the site so much more comfortably.
And I really don't know why we had TookTheKids in a 5v3 just not take their time. They've got several stun grenades they could have thrown at the man, yet they just walk at him in close quarters. That's always going to favor Gash in that position. Even if you have bodies to throw at the problem, you never want to risk that situation, and now they've paid the ultimate price, still having to deal with someone in the back of 90 near the top of main, and now not having all that much util left to kill, they just have to get aggressive and really hope that Gasher is not in a prime position to punish once again.
Whew, but Gasher, he's eager for more. He's got 2, dodges a flashbang as well. The laser sight might give him away, but as this flash lands right next to him, no, he dodges it, but he still loses the fight to Nice. Excellent save by the Nomad. That could have been an easy loss on the entry. They still might win this round despite the losses they fared. Excellent shot by Rice through that wall, and a beautiful C4 as well. Lands right at Trist's feet. Now Mr. B's wondering what the hell just happened. Rice has got the advantage, but he's still only on 1 HP. Mr. B, though, doesn't have any flashes, and the defense has intel on his position inside his study. Only got 26 seconds. 1 drone to work with, but he doesn't want to give Rice any opportunity. He's playing close. He's got to win this. Just land 1 singular bullet as Rice gives his position away. Mr. B knows now, and he lands the shot through the desk. TookTheKids recover from a very solid early round, but almost fell away from them thanks to Gasher.
And at least we had, I might have thought the laser sight could have given him away. If not, then just not having enough of the body shown for not nice was the final thing that drew away Gasher's position, because they didn't drone him out. All the flash grenades missed. He really was in a good spot just to go swing and win that 1-for-1. But I think it was just a general positioning of Nice there, waiting a couple extra seconds and going in for that pre-fire really was the saving grace of TookTheKids. You lose out on the smokes, which was one of the main things Aqualix still had in the pocket, and then it just kind of devolved for Aqualix altogether. But a great equalizer round for TookTheKids to make sure they don't have to look down the gun barrel of match point after a couple of very disappointing attacking rounds.
See, Aqualix also now bring out that Valkyrie back in their lineup, so clearly after last round they're like, okay, you know, we know they're bringing the IQ, but let's give ourselves that intel. Even if it gets shot, oh no, it gets shot. We'll just, like, you know, play how we would if we didn't have a Valkyrie on the board. So we'll see if they're able to make that a little bit easier. Of course, if you remember this round, AQ were like, guys, we're in Aviator Games, come clear us. TookTheKids were like, okay, and they died. So it really was not the best sort of round for TookTheKids, because they just went up main, died pretty much immediately, tried to push up books, died pretty much immediately. It was a flawless round for AQ. Will TookTheKids decide to clear it out, or will they go for a direct take? It appears they're still going to try and make up for their previous mistake and try to clear out these players in Aviator.
Tons of grenades. IQ again for Mr. B, so the self-enablement could be stopped early on against Aqualix. Not the worst decision, but the over-aggression might not be there. As I speak, though, Psychosis tries to go for an early kill. Trist will now double down this engagement, swings next to couches, process of elimination, and it works out for Trist. The first of many kills, a second one to follow up, and Tragical takes care of Afer. Good shot call, I suppose, by Trist, just to kind of walk in and simply be the better gunner in that position, and now it's a 4-on-2 to favor TookTheKids.
Yeah, it was still a little bit worrisome. I mean, Trist had the good read there. I'm not sure how much intel he was operating off of, but hey, he wasn't. Good job hitting your shots. If he was, good work getting the intel and then hitting your shots. So the one thing that TookTheKids struggled to overcome the time they lost Trophy Statuary, done. Dealt with, gone, not even a factor. Yeah, Rice is in Slimy Nick can chill on site, but Tragical's already worked his way up. The only worry I have now right here is that TookTheKids might get a bit too ahead of themselves, but it might not even matter all that much. Slimy Nick now down to a nade, forces Rice to get aggressive. Will they be watching? The air jab goes out, one lines up, make that two as he downs, vaulting out the window. Excellent play by the smoke, but now he's got to get another. Coming up close, he can win it with the shotgun. He's got the intel, he flicks in time, 1v1, a little bit of damage to the Zofia, but he's got to go prone. Hold back for just a little bit. Doesn't have enough ammo to make this work. He'll go prone for the moment, and Tragical jumps out. This gives Rice a moment of respite before the others enter in the building.
Still plenty of time, though. Drones on the board as well. Rice very low on HP. We could have this engagement just come down to range. Perhaps Rice will try to not make that happen. Tragical is actually rotating around, though, hopping into study, and Rice, expecting that play to most likely happen, he'll just fall back in the site and just hope he can win his ones. Triss is waiting for that cutoff, and again, process of elimination. This could be big. Rice with the swing, though. Tons of intel being gathered. Rice has to step up big, but so low on HP. Tragical will deny the clutch, and it's still going to be match point for TookTheKids.
Two clutches now today that we've had very close by a mute player and unfortunately not able to bring it up. Or I guess a mute and a smoke player, to be accurate, that weren't able to come through in the end. Still, for TookTheKids, a big mistake last time, not clearing out the roam. This time, they cleared out the roam and didn't lose a single body doing it. Again, I'm still not sure how efficient their droning was or how extensive it was. But doesn't matter because they won their fights, and once that was done, that was the saving grace, and not really the saving grace. It was the round for AQ last time. It's been the round for AQ on a lot of these rounds, and TookTheKids just dealt with it pretty much immediately. Now going to Aviator Games. Let's see real quick Aqualix not bringing that Valkyrie again. They're sticking with the lineup that they had previously. Bringing that Vigil, bringing the Wamai and the Melusi in favor of, say, the Valkyrie. The big problem here, John, was what do you know? As TookTheKids enter the building, they take down both the roamers off the site and put AQ in an uncomfortable position very early on. Even though they brought it back in the mid-round, when AQ are put in a position where they have to start recovering, that's where the positions and the mistakes start coming out.
It's always been the early game that favors Aqualix so well, especially when they're just having a good day on the drones and can actually communicate well enough to enable those early kills to happen. That can still be relayed on the defensive side, especially when AQUA was on the Valkyrie with no IQ. It was just a lot of, I know where this guy is, I'll go pre-fire, click on the head, and still get that kill for my team. But if we don't see more of a reserved playstyle by Aqualix, this could once again be an early 5v position favoring TookTheKids, and that is probably the last thing you want to have happen here as an Aqualix player when you are looking down the barrel of match point after having a very strong early second half and now kind of floundering a lot of these early round positions that you normally tend to do so well in.
TookTheKids will try for this main stairs clear again. Of course, Psycho in this spot. Put a lot of magnets down, though interestingly enough, no ADSs, which, of course, there's no shield on this. Oh, no, there is a shield, sorry. It's just out of frame. There is a shield here, but they are lacking a lot in terms of projectile denial, as there's only probably about 2-3 magnets on the board, and one's already gone, so TookTheKids can make very quick work of these magnets. Just throw a couple flashes in and bam, already get the nades down, and we're looking at a pretty quick main stairs clear, which, like they had last time, the big issue was Aether causing chaos inside of Library, but here, it's Psycho getting aggressive on main, cuts the head off of Taha, and nobody's in a position or really even has the opportunity to trade that one back.
Psychosis literally 1 HP at this point, maybe a little more, potentially 5, and still holding main. He's just in a spot to die. There is someone playing next to him near top main, and Aether is also on the roam game along with Slimy Nick. So there is a pretty huge chance that this is actually in the books for Aqualix, depending on how TookTheKids could potentially adapt. And it looks like they'll actually swallow their pride and fully rotate around and go for more of a master take, as that main push didn't really go fully according to plan. Mr. B hopping in from the rappel into Trophy, and now joining up for Tragical to see what kind of magic he can work with that LMGE.
Thankfully, with the rotate, they don't have to worry about, say, Gasher in 90 like they did last time, so they can move up fairly quickly here. But they got to do some work opening up this vault wall, and oh, with the no nades, actually, that they have. I was going to say, you know, the few nades, but they actually have none since Taha fell. So getting open this vault wall could prove to be a little bit difficult unless there's no mute jammer on there, which there actually might not be. Tragical also gets a kill onto Psychosis, pushing up books, maybe being a little bit too aggressive for the position Aqualix found themselves in. And the vault wall gets open, boom, no problem. No mute jammer there, or at least one that might have been destroyed. So now Rice can't rotate on the way through that vault. Still not a lot of time for TookTheKids to make this work, but they flash on in, start pushing through, but Rice takes advantage of that opportunity, of that assumption by TTK that they could just push through for free. The fuser dropped, one around the corner. Tragical trying to compensate, but Rice with the two-piece shuts that down immediately. Now with Nice, well, I guess he's alone now. Nothing else to rely on with Mr. B and Study. Overtime, our first one of the day, as AQ don't really have the most active early round, aside from that kill. They just hold out on the site. TTK can't recover.
And still losing out on the 50-50 gunfight for the Finka. Definitely did not sit well. Having no one play near Art Studio for that little cutoff angle being held, it was just a full-fledged double door push in, then just start throwing out utility to try to clear out that main shield. And things just went sour for them. They did end up trying to adapt, but not having anyone just kind of sit near Study balcony to deny anyone pushing in through Study itself, or having anyone near main, it didn't really look all that great on paper to TookTheKids, because at the end of the day, they still had to go in for a funnel, and when you don't fully clear out main stairs, you can just have all that utility just rotated to deny that beginning push that would normally happen in through Master instead. Aqualix, probably going to go 6-pick off, or re-pick, pardon, off a lot of these ops, because we've got Slimy Nick on the Amaru.
Hey, we saw her play today.
Look, it wouldn't be the worst thing to see, especially for a trophy defense, but that's such a gamble on overtime. I don't think Aqualix want to risk that.
You know, especially for how poor their attacking half was, I think you might be onto something there. I think you might be on the right track with that line of logic.
10 seconds remaining.
Of course, the issue here on Trophy, if you recall, one of the sites won by Aqualix was on Trophy, but it was only because Aether went big with a 4K. But beyond that, AQ stuck at the triple panel, struggled to open it up, struggled to get control down below or anything solid. But here, TookTheKids, they're going all out on their own, like they have previously. Taha and Tragical, Valkyrie and Oryx, like we've seen before. AQ, not clearing it out, going for the direct, like we've seen before. It's nice that they're sticking with what they're comfortable with, but what they claim is their bread and butter was not really great in how we've seen it in this matchup.
I had more or less a lot of top-heavy positions for both Aqualix and TookTheKids now that I've had time to kind of notice the overall KD stats. Taha in general was just rather quiet in the second half, and hopefully now back on the defense that could change, but also same thing for Nice. A lot of those main entries that are supposed to be the main power pushers just were not really existent there. Same thing could be said for Aqualix a lot of moments as well, but they've been able to clean up their act a little bit more in comparison to the Kids. But again, the defensive side, TookTheKids did a very good job in that 4-2 split, so as long as they're able to reenact what they were able to accomplish last time around when defending Trophy Room and don't have to allow Gasher to kind of self-enable himself, this should in theory be a decent position for them.
Oof. Nice, slowly creeping down the stairs, but a drone comes through and bullets fly past as well. Not able to catch Afer off guard like he hoped, though I guess he ends up doing it, but it costs most of his HP, and Afer really just, takes a little bit of damage, but not enough to, be daunted to stop his LMG spray. Nice will pay for that and go back up Astro stairs. There's another one creeping up red right now, looking to throw a wrench in the plans of anybody from Aqualix holding this bottom floor. It's Taha on the Oryx at the moment, playing all the way down that long red hallway. We'll just hold the angle. Content to let AQ do the work and, well, do the work down below, but not with a lot of time remaining.
Big thing to note was that self-stall. Yeah, time management was kind of non-existent for Aqualix. They have begun to rotate up above, though, but the grenade is going to be way too far out. It bounced and still had a little bit of air time. Hopefully the second one by Gasher, though, is going to connect, and it doesn't. It gets caught near the metal rebar and actual wood frame, so that's going to be triple wall. Not able to be destroyed by Rice just yet. Maybe if Aver can rotate up above, he can utilize his grenades to break that Claw, but for now, and most likely will be a funnel by Aqualix once again, and they still need to deal with the roam game in the final 40 seconds because Taha is alive and well.
I mean, this is looking like it took the kids round right now. Triple panel completely closed. AQ have spent the majority of their resources on it. They just, as you said, have to funnel. A nice nade kill to start things out, though. That makes stomping away up Astro a lot more viable, but a couple others shut down on the entry. Tragical 2 gets aggressive, picks up 1 alongside Trist, who gets 3 on the round with that Alda, and Taha finally getting active in round 13. Match point for TookTheKids, a team that seems to can't stop themselves from taking these games to overtime.
No, but at least they give themselves a lot of time, and inadvertently because of that, to at least change up their style a bit and understand the weaknesses of Aqualix. And funny enough, all 3 of the players that I mentioned that were looking rather weak in the matchup so far did their part. We had the Jaeger of Not Nice waste tons of time and only die because he was very low in HP via a frag grenade. We then had both, I believe it was Taha and Trish, just open up the kill feed. Tragical joined in as well, someone who's been rather solid in this matchup. It was a full-fledged team effort there by TookTheKids to play into their own strengths and force Aqualix to have the same error as they did last time when attacking Trophy, which was that self-stall and really a lack of general information that they could utilize to actually go in for that final push. But the attacks of TookTheKids, not as strong as their defenses, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, Aqualix will try out Aviator Games, and based on this lineup, could be dealing with things a little bit differently. We won't see the Wamai that gave them some success on that main stairs hold, but then again, it's mainly from Psychosis literally killing one of the people that was trying to clear him, more so than the utility doing the talking. Plus, the ADSs could be a little bit more static throughout the round. You only get 3 as opposed to 5, but you don't have to worry about you dying before you regenerate the proper amount you need to. Gasher still with that shield will give Psychosis this support he needs on main stairs. But what I want to see, John, what's Afer going to do? Past few Aviator games around, he tries to flank through Library. Sometimes it's worked. Sometimes he's been shut down. Is he going to go for the same play? And are TookTheKids going to read into it?
What I'm looking to see as well is what Mr. B is going to do on the Blitz, because man's been
I didn't even realize that.
That's a given. And now he's on the Blitz, which is probably going to be used to help clear out main effectively. You could also use that to quickly push out the roam presence that Afer has been doing constantly, and losing out on one of your top fraggers off the bat, and Rice probably not to follow that far behind either. that could be big too. But it looks like for TookTheKids, they want to go in for a very linear push, but having that brute force of Mr. B on the blitz, it's going to most likely work out quite well. If someone was lower main, this could be a free kill, but no one's here to help out the player of blitz, and still, this position in main is being held quite strong by Aqualix. Nothing working at all for the slightest in the hands of TookTheKids, as their play is completely demolished by one Jaeger player. How is he still alive, Carter?
It's an absolute slaughter pushing in through study and main stairs. I don't think Taha's winning this one. Gotta be honest with you guys. He's got a nade left. That's cool. But I don't think it's happening. Psychosis pulls back. Taha moves into the site, doesn't even recover the diffuser. He's looking for some hope in getting this back. Sees the Jaeger rushing up. There we go. In ace clutch territory, but Gasher shuts it down. All 15 rounds necessary as well. The main stairs rush didn't work. And that was plan A, and the only plan. Or TookTheKids.
And it would have worked, Carter, if we just had somebody go in through main earlier. We had that idea be attempted by TookTheKids, but it just took too long, and nobody was there to back up Mr. B. It looked like he was fully ready to go in for that push, obviously, because he just walked into Psychosis, but he was expecting, I would guess, someone to immediately back up in that position, which didn't happen. And then the call was given by Psychosis. They're heavily pushing me from top main through study. Someone backed me up. Gasher was there in the call, found a 1, and everything just blown out of the water there for TookTheKids. Don't get me wrong. They're a much better team on defense, and the same thing could be said for Aqualix. So now they're kind of at the back burner for the 15th round. But that play could have gone so much better if there was just an extra second to breathe for TookTheKids. I know it's overtime match point, but you don't need to play that aggressively just to guarantee a win like that.
I mean, it's always a risk. I've seen plenty of teams, Parabellum and the NAL right now. A lot of their strategy when they would get to overtime or match play was just like, all right, let's rush, let's do something cheeky, let's just get the win, try to catch them off guard, then get out of here. And it can work. In that case, as you said, I don't think the plan was bad, but if you don't send someone up bottom main, and that blitz ends up getting domed like he does, you've lost the main point of your entire strategy. Thankfully here, this has been a very defender-sided Villa, and TookTheKids get the advantage of having their chance at another defensive round. Not going trophy, instead opting to go kitchen, which they only went to once, by the way, on their defending half, so interesting how that ended up working out. See how they can manage to make this work. They're running with that pulse, not going with the Valkyrie, just kind of more so focusing on holding the map control on both the horizontal and the vertical.
I mean, that's what kind of worked out for them the first time they ended up defending this site. Looks like we've got Afer, though, trying to be the big playmaker of the hour. Walking in through pantry stairs, having drones spot him out too. But again, with Tragical on the pulse, he's able to relay that information to the rest of his teammates. And if they need to adjust, they can more or less do so. And I think we had the same play kind of fold out last time as well, Carter, here on Trophy, where TookTheKids were completely aware of this and just slowly move themselves around to stop this play from working by Afer, and could also deny that top floor presence as well. So already just off of past experiences between both these teams, this does look to be more of a winnable position for TookTheKids, but there's still 2 minutes in play. Anything could happen at this point.
Yeah, AQ just do the same thing they did before. Probe for some weaknesses in the early round, then if they don't find any, they just join the rest of the players clearing on the top floor with Psycho already there, having, created a beachhead inside a closet. They need to worry here, of course, because they're going for the full clear. That's fine, but you have Tragical down below with the C4, and the Heartbeat Scanner sending one out right now, right below Afer's feet. Aqualix, not fully aware of it, and that's your top performer by a wide margin off the board. Gasher and Rice have both been putting in work, but if the defense now falls back, which they're in a very good position to do, Aqualix is going to spend all this time rotating up, and all they'll have to show for it is a lost body, and even if they trade here, Nice can waste a few more seconds. It's looking like it took the kids around.
One difference, though, that we had is that Sledge was the first one to fall. That vertical could still be an option here for Aqualix, but like you had mentioned, if we actually don't have the information there that the Jaeger's still playing above, this could be quite deadly. And yeah, that's matter of fact. Nice gets rid of Slime, and no one's even checking for Jaeger. This could be free real estate for him. Misses out against Gasher, but still, 5 versus 3. Eventually, he gets cleared out, but still, a very tall task to climb up here for Aqualix.
It's just an absolute missed opportunity. You could have either pushed the Jaeger back, taken him down. Neither goes your way, and you end up losing a body in the process, and you gain what? A Jaeger dead with 50 seconds left? If you're writing home about that, we're in bad shape if that's what's getting, us happy in these rounds. They have now pushed it into the site. Slykosis and Rice both there, and nobody from TookTheKids is biting just yet. Because, well, one of them has those C4s. Taha can toss it on over. It might go too short, but Tragical can swing, and he takes down the planter. Psycho can't cover effectively, and it's all wraps. 3 kills in a matter of seconds fly their way, and TookTheKids, they keep it close for another day in a row, but it's still an 8-7 victory, and one among many for them.
And it's still a very weird